In November of 2024, I tried to predict what would happen in 2025. We are now at the end of 2025, and I want to go through many of the things that I predicted and see if I got it right and got it wrong. And a lot of things I got wrong. But here's what I predicted. So Intuitive da Vinci 5 gets CE mark early Q2. Yes, got that right. They did get CE mark, so they have the da Vinci 5 out in Europe now. Medicaroid gets CE mark Q3. No, still waiting on that. I know they've submitted and I know that they're waiting to get it. So Medicaroid, still waiting on that. Medtronic gets FDA clearance for urology, prostate. No, not quite in Q1, but they did get it late in the year. So I was about 9 months out on that, and they did get it. So Hugo has got FDA. So I got it right in 2025, just got the month wrong or the quarter wrong. Medtronic Hugo therefore can't get the first clinical sales in the US, but I think they will get that in Q1 2026, not 2025. I think they'll get that. CMR Surgical first US clinical cases in Q1. Well, they actually got FDA clearance, but they waited very sensibly until they got Versius Plus out, which happened just a couple of days ago. And the Versius Plus will allow them then to get the first clinical cases in the US. And I think it'll be Q1 2026. Stryker makes a bid to acquire a soft tissue robot. Completely wrong. Not seen any movement on that whatsoever. We'll see. Moon or Distal I still think is a good idea for them. JNJ starts IDE first cases. Yes, got that right almost to the month. So that I said Q1, so we're good there. Virtual Incision gets procedural expansion and announces a smaller diameter. No, they're still working through some things for procedural, but they've not announced it yet. Moon Surgical gets significant upgrades in their vision system analytics and adds more automation features. Yes, I said Q3 2025. It's actually Q4. They just did it. So they got a lot of upgrades across their entire fleet for their AI, for their data, for their digital, for their imaging across their entire fleet. So I was 1 quarter out on that one. Distal Motion Dexter gets the first commercial traction into the ASCs. Yes, I said Q1. I think it was Q2 they actually did it. So well done to Greg Roche and his teams there. But they've got good traction in the ASC. So I got that right. SS Innovations gets FDA clearance Q3. I'm a year out there. They've actually done the submission at the end of Q3, more Q4. So they're on track, but I'm a year out on that. So I got that one wrong. Hold my hand up. Toumia gets FDA clearance Q4 2025. No, not happened. Not there yet. But I do now believe that they will be able to use the XI as a predicate. And I do absolutely believe they'll be able to get a 510K on that because the FDA has changed dramatically the way it does that. Vicarious Surgical submits for IDE. No, they've basically about a year out on that as well. They've had a lot of changes there. They've got, though, their first clinical production of systems. I think they'll start their first clinical cases. So they may have submitted for the IDE now, but they'll actually probably start it next year. And I would think Q2 will be my guess. Bitrat expands EU commercial footprint throughout 2025. And I know that Rob Surgical, and shout out to Mario out there, I know that they've been working on looking at commercial. They're not commercially available yet because they don't have the CE mark for commercial yet, but they've got lots of cases been going on in the background, non-commercial, and I do believe that next year they'll get some expansion of commercial cases into Europe next year. So I'm about a year out on that one. Toumia gets first Western European sales. Absolutely, big shout out to Cash and the team there. They did a great job, and they've got lots of sales going on across Europe with Spain and Italy and Belgium. So Toumia from Microport is doing really well there. Go see my other video on them. Intuitive announces the retrofit of the DV5 tower to XIX. Got that one completely wrong. I don't see that happening this year, but I still do predict that's going to happen next year. I did write super wild speculation, but I do think they'll do that next year. I think they'll start having the tower be connected to their other systems. Telerobotics gains more traction than people think, and it becomes a more important as a core feature. Absolutely. And even I was surprised, but telerobotics, telesurgery, teleproctoring, telepreceptoring, the whole tele network has gone big. And you've got the leaders there, which is Toumia, SS Innovations with the Mantra, and you've got Edge Medical, who are really leading that off on the telerobotics. But as we said, Intuitive and Medtronic coming up very fast behind them. Stapler battle heats up with a faster movement to robotic stapling. Went even faster than I thought. Bigger market share swings. I did a post on this just recently where I released that in the US, manual stapling has now gone over to robotic. It's over 51% of the value of stapling in the US is now based on the robotic short form. So that's gone even faster. AI features of scene analysis, perioperative assistance start to drop into systems more widely. Yes, it's already here. Scene analysis and things are happening. They're already here. The intelligent surgical unit from Census, still waiting on that one. But Intuitive did their demo at Italian Innovation Week and they showed all of that about scene recognition, etc. So it's now dropping into the systems. It's not commercially available yet, but it's definitely within the systems. The market moves to 95% lease, pay-per-click or structured models, absolutely going that way. Nearly everything is going that way. There are still some pockets where people want to deploy capital and it's still happening. So it's not 95% yet. I see that trend is going that way really, really fast. And I see Intuitive are doing lots and lots more of that. Makes a big commercial moat that just sucks the oxygen from the room. The market starts to consolidate with some acquisitions and some companies deciding to exit the race. I think there's already been a couple which are on the borderline of exiting. I've not seen much consolidation too much now, but we did see the move by JNJ and Lenovo. So there's a sort of collaboration that's happening there for some consolidation. And we're slowly seeing the move towards a consolidation in this space. You're going to see that accelerate in 2026 is either people run out of money or some of the strategics need to make some other moves. So we're going to see that there. Early 2025, there was a low in investment, but it has picked up and we've seen some really good deals going in there. You know, we've got Cornerstone Robotics that have raised some good money. Lenovo's raised big money. There were several other companies that raised big money this year, and we see more acceleration of investment coming back in now to go more to scaling than it is for the initial R&D. But we are seeing money come back in here. We're definitely seeing money come back into the other areas like endoluminal robotics, where we've seen massive investment with Swan Endosurgical. I'll do that in another post all about that. But we've seen EndoQuest do well. We've seen a lot of the endovascular companies start to take and raise more money. So we are seeing investment back into our space. Several new adjunct tuck-ins and technologies will be acquired by JNJ, Medtronic and ASRG. And we see little tuck-ins happening around our industry, little acquisitions and purchases that come in, and a lot of placement bets that are going by the venture capital arms of the companies like Intuitive Ventures, JNJ Ventures, Medtronic Ventures. So we're seeing that there is looking for appetite of tuck-ins. And again, I say to people, don't go out there and build a whole new robotics system. Build something that can be put onto the current robotic systems. Probably a sensible way to go. Tower, becomes an even more important area of focus. The tower has become super dominant across the US with the Da Vinci 5 tower. All the towers are getting more and more powerful. They're getting upgraded, and the robots are taking over the tower. So every time a robot goes in, a tower goes in with it, and that just means you don't need to go and buy another laparoscopic tower. So the towers are becoming more and more important. They're becoming hubs. They're becoming hubs for the tele-surgery and the tele-robotics. The tower is just going to accelerate again in 2026, and I will do more posts on that. Intuitive are going to do handheld. So they did do the deal with Hologic, which was about their handheld energy device. So I still believe there's handheld coming because people are going to have handheld laparoscopic and robotic, and eventually open as well is going to need to be in there. Data ecosystems become more powerful and insights start to drive purchase. Absolutely. Intuitive with their data insights is just leading the way on this, but all the other systems are coming with more and more data insights, and Moon Surgical just dropped their whole data insights. So they have this whole fleet connected to the cloud, which is really, really important. You're going to have data and data insights. Versius Connect is another great one that's out there. So all the companies are going to have to drive that more and more. Data is going to become really important within the robot, just as important as the robot as a physical thing. The data from a digital thing will also be in there. Companies will start to strategize deeper on portfolios as they need base entry level systems besides single port solutions, besides higher end systems to be able to compete in the markets. A lot of systems out there are already looking at single port. So if you look at Toumia, they've also got a single port Edge Medical, a single port Kangduo, single port from Da Vinci is going deeper and deeper. They've expanded a lot this year in terms of their instrument capabilities, the stapling capabilities, the vision capabilities, procedural expansion of the single port. All companies are going to need to have multi-arm, single port, and they're going to have different grades of systems. So J&J's move, very, very interesting that they teamed up with Renovo in China. So they'll have Ottava, which will be their premium flagship. Then they've got Renovo in China, which is still a great system, but it's not going to be their premium Ottava. You're going to start to see segmentation coming across all of the systems, because not every single system is applicable to every market, every budget, and every site of care. ASCs, keep pushing on that one, a big one. You're going to see more and more next year on ASCs and how people are going to try and fit into those and segment into those. Several Chinese companies realize the vast expense, resistance, and resource out of China. They're going to find it harder to compete outside of China. I think that's a reality they're seeing, that it's just way more expensive outside of China. There's more resistance, there's a lot more competition, and they're still in things like LATAM where they're doing okay, but it's way more expensive, and Europe way more expensive and slower probably than they predicted. Will they retreat completely? I don't know. Some of them will, but I think you'll still have some of the companies like Edge, and you'll have Microport with Toumia that will still be there. 29, two more to go after that, as robotic LigaSure hits the market, and I got that right. Well done to Medtronic for getting LigaSure on the market. The robotic one got on the market and people like it. The battle for advanced energy in robots heats up, with more articulating energy devices being trialed or even released in Q4 2025. Intuitive upgrades SynchroSeal. So I got that slightly wrong. It wasn't SynchroSeal they upgraded, it was their other sealing device, which is the Extend, and they brought out a curved, slimmer version of it in June, and you're seeing several of the companies that are predicting to launch theirs early in Q1 next year. But LigaSure has been one of the big triggers of that. You had Versius Plus, which has their ultrasonic in the US. Basically, more and more of the robots are bringing out advanced energy devices, either ultrasonic, or more of them are going to drop electrosurgical advanced bipolar devices to keep it with LigaSure. Got that right, and it's just going to continue. And again, good to see that hit the market. Number 30, a sudden global talent race will accelerate. And yes, I'm seeing that. I talk to the HR firms that are out there. They are looking for the best global talent that will be able to take the robots forwards. And there is a dearth out there of talent that they need to get into their robots. So absolutely 100%, the fight for finding the best people out there is growing. And as people realize what the real skill sets are that are needed to grow these robotic businesses, that's going to get even more tight from a supply and demand point of view from global talent. My bonus speculation was that Intuitive drops news on a handheld stapling and energy. The only thing they did is they dropped it with Hologic. That was the bonus one, and they already showed not the stapling but the energy device, which was the Hologic, plugs into their tower. I still predict they're going to have a handheld stapling at some point. So didn't get it 100% right, but I feel I did a fairly good job. Love to know in the comments how well you think that I did. That was back in November 2024, and I will do a 2026 prediction. So subscribe, hit the like, hit the subscribe. It really helps my channel, and that will also, if you put in the comments, please comment and say how well you think that I actually did in terms of predicting what was going to come in 2025. And I will catch you very soon for the 2026 update. Plus bonus, and this is why you should subscribe, I am going to go company by company and give you a review of their year in review in a bit more detail. So thanks very much, and like, subscribe, and join the channel. Cheers. Bye-bye.